Yeah, but they're just showing up.
You just show up to the office, bro.
You just exist.
Yeah.
You just inhale the oxygen in the air.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing anything.
You're not doing anything. Like you can show up all you want to the gym
Right.
and sit here and nothing's happening. You can show up with anything. You want to be the best baker in the world. You show up to the kitchen and you don't get your hands dirty, you're not going to become the best baker in the world. You're not like, I don't care what it is. There has to be physical action towards the desired outcome that you have. And through that repetition, that's how you develop a better skill set, a better mindset, and figure out what it is you're doing wrong. Wallahi. What does that mean again?
Wallahi means I swear to God.
I swear to, yeah. I remember in the office,
like
I'd hear Wallahi a lot. And I was telling my girl, she was like, what does that mean? I was like, because they study Arabic as well. You know what I mean? They learn Hebrew, they learn Arabic, they learn English. And I was like, how do you not know this? I thought you said you study Arabic. And I was like, I swear I heard Wallahi every day in the office in Chicago. And one of my boys told me, I thought it was like, yes, bro. So
this is Arabic 101, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was like, I forgot. So it's, I swear to God, but like in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, you use it for anything. And especially if you think someone's lying to you in the Arabic, tell them, say Wallahi.
Oh, yeah, like swear, you swear, bro? Like, Wallahi.
You put it on God?
Yeah, put it on God. Wallahi. Let's go. Man, how you doing?
Good, man. Lovely. I just finished 2024 year. We grew from, 6 agents to 15.
Yeah.
And the team did 8 million. So
wow.
That's health insurance sales, yeah.
Wow, dude. So you've
continuing the journey.
You've experienced some benefit then with working with me a little bit.
Oh, definitely, bro.
That's
definitely.
Sick. That's sick. What do you think is the biggest thing that you've gotten from? I started up this AK Brotherhood, this insurance and sales consulting, literally probably the beginning of 2024 after making close to $7 million in the insurance space. And I was like, you know what? I see all these people charging and doing consulting and coaching. They don't have any results. And they don't have anything they can legitimately bring to the table aside from life coaching. What do you think is the biggest thing you've got from working with me in the small, intimate group that I've developed through the AK Brotherhood and the AK Consulting?
Yeah, I think your strategy is very duplicatable. That's the biggest thing for me. So the exact advice that you give me is the exact things that you do on a day-to-day basis on your social media platform.
Yeah.
How to recruit, how to grow, how to coach people. Everything that I've achieved, you're still above. So I still have room to grow.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you can recruit 200 plus, maybe, are you at 300 agents now?
So I've got about between all, close to 300.
Okay. If you can recruit 300 agents in a matter of, 3-4 years.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Chicago launched 3-4 years ago, but like now I'm also starting to see I'm creating other communities, whether it be through consulting, it be through the sales staffing company. The sales staffing company I launched almost 4 months ago through Sales Hub. And now if you look at that community, I look at things that I just simply measured on a surface level. So if you look at that, that's 218 people in 3 months. And it's a combination of organic content creation. And I'd say that's probably 30-40% of it, but 60%, 70% of that is ads. And doing everything that I go over with you guys. And it's in front of everybody's face. Show the proof. What's the promise? What's the offer? And then here's the plan. Here's how we're going to get there. And so I think a lot of people, and myself, when I analyze my content, I analyze my life, is we skip the proof. And I think it's a combination of you're either not happy with your paycheck, your results, whatever it is you're generating, so you don't highlight it enough or at all. And I've done that. I'm like, man, I only made 800,000 this year. I only made $1 million this year. I only made, you know what I mean? And you're comparing, and comparison's a thief of joy, to somebody that made 100 million. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that dude made 100 million, so I'm not even gonna highlight my results. My agents are only making 1,000 a week. I only made 1,000 this week, 1,000 this month, whatever it might be in your endeavor, your business. Like Sales Hub doesn't even make any money right now. It loses money. But I continue to show the results that I'm getting for the few people in there that are getting jobs, that are finding recruits. As soon as somebody's like, I got a great hire, boom, show the proof. As soon as like, I found a great job, boom, show the proof. Me, making no money off Sales Hub. But that community accumulated to 218 people in less than 120 days. So I look at that as like...
Now I remember when you first started it.
Bro, I was like...
I was like one of the first people in it.
You were one of the first people in it, and I was like, this kind of... People kept telling me it was a stupid idea. And I was like... Oh, well, I'm really passionate about recruiting and not wasting your time and your money on idiots. And then I also look at, I created a free sales community. And this was created 2 months ago. It's 87 people. So I look at that as 87 potential leads. When people are like, when I come up with different concepts that I see from people that I look up to, like Hormozy, of like, you know, when he first starts an endeavor, it's like, why not create a free platform where you can test out like a beta version of your product, your service, what your offer is. And then you take the reviews, you critique it, and you make adjustments. And as it gets better, then you start asking for money. Okay, well, now I'm going to bring you XYZ result. Here's the proof. Here's the results. Here's the promise. Here's the plan. Here's how much money it's going to cost. So, but it's like, it's crazy because I look at like the 7 years now I'm going on in the insurance space, and it took me 2 years to get my first successful agent. And I was just knocking on doors. And it's not that I wasn't recruiting. I was getting bodies. I was making $100,000 a year in my first 2 years just off personal production, but I couldn't get anybody to stick. Yeah, it was a little harder. You had to go knock on doors. Everything was in person, drive there,
What were you
etc.
doing wrong?
So it's a combination of, one, there was nothing that I was necessarily doing wrong. The skill set wasn't there. I wasn't developed as a leader nor as a salesman. Like, I was good at making $2,000-$3,000 a week, but that doesn't mean I was good at duplicating myself because my pitch was complex. I knew product knowledge, whereas most people didn't have the time or patience to learn the product knowledge, you know, within 3 months. And typically people, if they didn't make the money they wanted to make within 2-3 months, they quit.
Right.
So I needed to dumb it down so people could learn just enough to sell just enough to be just happy enough to outlast that 90 days. So I started to simplify. And I actually put this in my notes this morning from my studying. And it was, let me see here. If you want to feed your ego, make it more complicated. If you want to feed your bank, make it more simple. So I think in sales and in life, when we first start something off, our lack of understanding brings a level of complexity, and it not only feeds our ego, but it doesn't feed our bank. So even if you're not trying to make something super complicated, when you first start something, you have no idea how it works. So you're not generating any results. And then as I started to figure out how it works, I started to bring a lot of information, not only to clients, and that didn't help me make any sales because I would confuse them, but I would bring a lot of information to sales agents as I was trying to recruit them, and potential prospects and trying to recruit them. And that didn't make me any money. And so as I dumbed it down and realized, okay, how can I make this offer and make life insurance as easy or as dumb as like a toddler needed to do this and understand this? And that's when it started to skyrocket. And then I document, and I would critique, and I would implement, and then sometimes I would revert back. Like in fighting, I was sparring this morning and doing really good, keep my defense up. And sometimes you just get into the round and you forget what you've learned, and you start dropping your left. Like I dropped my left, I got like a little bruise or something up here, I can feel it. And you just go back to an old habit. So over my 7 years, I've gotten better, but then sometimes you take a step back and you forget for a month or two. And you look back and you're like, dude, why did I go back to doing that stupid stuff?
Yeah.
I already learned that when I'm creating content, I need to show proof first. And then I also need to show proof not only for myself, but for the people that I'm helping. Because your testimony is powerful, but when you show testimonials of individuals that you're helping, it's impactful. Like if I want to impress people, I show all the money I've made. If I want to impact people and really start to bring in a new audience, a larger audience, a higher quality audience, I start to show the impact I have on others. Because people don't care what you've done for yourself. People care, what can you do for me?
Right.
You know? So like that's the biggest turning point. And I think, you know, I was talking to another guy, a fitness coach I actually respect in the Miami area. His name's Jason. And he was like I've discovered, and I remember studying all the presidents over the last year or 2 years. I think I told you about this. And I was like, do you know what the most powerful thing that I got from the presidents? And I studied them not because I care about ever being a president. I studied them to see who was a great leader and who was a poor leader. And out of all the presidents, some knew 6 languages. There was a president, I think it was Theodore Roosevelt, that like had known 5 or 6 languages, and ambidextrous as well, meaning he could write with both language or in multiple languages with both hands. Imagine somebody writing in English in one hand and then writing in Arabic in the other hand.
That's insane.
Insane.
No, insane.
Literally
I can't
insane.
do that.
Yeah, couldn't imagine. So, and then we had presidents that were war leaders, that went and served in war. You had Lyndon Johnson, who was a literal like war hero. In addition to that, he was a type of president that he would go and have like standoffs where if we had a dispute, that's fine. Let's go outside and we'll have a duel, like shoot at each other. Like imagine the balls as a leader to be like, oh, that's fine. Let's go outside and have a duel. So we had war heroes. We had super intelligent presidents. We've had some absolute losers and bums and presidents that have no idea what they're doing. Obviously, the president that's still in office now. But when I looked at all the presidents, and this ties into what me and Jason were talking about, there was one thing that made a leader more impactful than the others. It wasn't the intelligence. It wasn't the strongest. It wasn't the one with the best resume in war. It was one thing: relatability. The president that could look to everybody and make you feel that John F. Kennedy line. Don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Like that just made you feel like he was with you when you go home and you don't know how you're going to make ends meet. When you go home and you're going through relationship issues, when you go home and you're working on the farm or you're working in the city and you're working in the union or you're working that corporate job, the leader that makes you feel like he's with you, she's with you in the highs and the lows, the most relatable leader, that's the one that wins. Maybe not every battle, but when it comes to the war, it's the Alexander the Great that wins. That's one of the only war heroes that was undefeated. And, I always share with my guys, the reason being from my studying of Alexander the Great is this is a gentleman that in the midst of his conquering, there was a story. And I think have I told you the story before?
You might have.
Where they were on this conquering journey. And I believe they were going to fight King Xerxes. I think it was a Persian king, and they're conquering obviously all this Middle Eastern territory. It's supposed to be there's supposed to be territory in like Saudi Arabia or some Middle Eastern countries that Alexander the Great had influenced and impacted with buildings and things like that. And it's supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be like just immaculate. But in this journey, his army was parched. They didn't have any water. They were running out of food. People were dying from exhaustion. He sends out generals ahead, and he says, go find some water. Go find something. A couple didn't come back. I think one of them, the horse came back. He's dead on the horse. And there was a general that came back holding Alexander's helmet, and it's full of water. There's thousands, tens of thousands of soldiers. On the front line, they see the water in the helmet. They hand the helmet, the general hands the helmet to Alexander. This helmet of water is not going to quench anybody's thirst. It'll quench Alexander's, maybe a few others. He takes the helmet, he looks back at his people. Thousands. They're all sitting there. You got to imagine, bro. You're about to die from exhaustion, just quivering from exhaustion. He takes the helmet, he looks back, dumps the water out. Symbolism of we're going to starve together and we will die from exhaustion together and we're going to win together. If we're going to die, I'm going to die with you. On the front lines. He was notorious for fighting in the front lines with his army. Those are the leaders that changed the game. That's what separated me from everybody else, is I'm not scared to get on the front lines and starve with my people and die with my people. You want to get on a presentation? Let's get on a presentation. You're scared of the presentation? You're scared to do the recruiting? You're scared to make the content? I'll right there with you. Right there with you. That's what took me from zero to insurance hero. You know what I mean? And it didn't happen overnight. It was show up one battle at a time, one battle at a time, one battle at a time, one battle at a time. And you can't consult that. You can't package that into an overnight thing. That's an over the years thing. That's why I always tell you, it's like, dude, it's going to take years of you developing the skill set, the mindset, and the heart set, and building the resume of here's the leader that I am. That's your brand. Instagram just captures a piece of it. Social media just captures a piece of it, but your real brand is the reputation and the words you build with your people right now over the years. Were you a good man or were you a weak man? Because every day there's an opportunity to be a weak man, to take that shortcut. And the shortcut's always the longest road. You know? That's where it changed for me. So I would say like when I think of and like what's making you different than everybody else is you don't take the shortcut. Yeah, that's why it's so easy for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, there is no shortcut.
yeah, and the fact that you think that way is what separates you from everybody else. Because the people that create this ideology that there is a shortcut, because you're right, there isn't a shortcut to get to where you truly desire to be. That word doesn't exist. That mindset, that path doesn't exist. You go straight through it. It's the buffalo. You go through the storm. The individuals that think they can go around the storm and they can minimize the amount of pain and problems and endurance don't realize when you subtract the problems that you're working with, you subtract the glory. You subtract the actual blessing, which is who you become by going through that storm.
Right.
So, I mean, it's incredible.
And you see the same thing with people who win the lottery. Like most people who win the lottery end up broke the next year.
Yeah.
Because they didn't earn all this money.
Yeah.
So they end up, square one.
Yeah.
Back again. But each person that takes the hard route and gets where they earn to be.
Yeah.
Is someone that lasts. They become a different person. They become a better person to their family. They become a better person to their employees or agents. They become a better, happier person, more content person. They basically reap the rewards of their efforts.
Yes.
Yeah, you enjoy the fruits of your labor.
I was telling my guys this morning, rich is always wealth, rich, all of it is an inside job first. There's a lot of rich people and all they have is money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they're broken. Inside and out, they're broken because it's an inside job. If you truly want to get rich, that's why it's like, I always tell people I'm by far not a life coach whatsoever. I'm 26 years old. I can coach on a quarter of life. I've lived a quarter of life. You know what I mean? I can help you get to a quarter of life decently. You know what I mean? But there's 3/4 of life. I have no idea. I know what's working for me right now. You know what I mean? Talk to me a quarter from now. I can help you get halfway through life. Hit me up when I'm 50. We'll see. And I can help you get to 50, I would imagine, hopefully pretty decently. But I know for me, prioritizing my faith, myself, and building my business around my family and loved ones, I think a lot of people, they get into their mind this balance mindset of, I need to balance out time for my business and my family. And I need to put my family first and then my business. Well, I put both first. I build my business simultaneously with my family. I incorporate them into my business. Mom, here's your role. Sister, here's your role. Galley, wife, here is your role. And as the leader of the family, like I'm able to incorporate. Where people are like, well, I need to separate the two. No, why don't you just marry the two and find alignment of, hey, here's the business as the man of the house that we're going to run. So that way there doesn't need to be any balance. You know what I mean? We're going to eternally and infinitely build this thing together. But that's where I find wealth. People start to subtract from their wealth and their richness because they'll just accumulate money or they'll accumulate one of these things. They'll get health and they'll have no money. So if you have health, you have no money, you have no freedom. And then if you have money and you don't have health, your vehicle that you're using, that you only have one of, this body, is deteriorating fast. And so you're running out of time. You're not going to be able to enjoy the wealth. You're broken. You don't have family. You don't have love to share with others, but you have health, you have money. You're broken. You're just whoring around looking for relationships. Who can fulfill this and who can fulfill that? It's not going to do you any good. So when I advocate to people growing yourself, reading your word, praying to your God, taking care of your body, managing, incorporating your relationships into your business, into your vision, it's not because I want to, post on social media like, oh, look, this person's doing self-growth. It's like I know what it'll bring your soul versus what the opposite will bring your soul, the emptiness, the void of, what do I need to fill this with? And then you'll find people filling it with drugs, filling it with liquor, filling it with vices, sugar, video games, just lazy, weak things that makes a man weak and almost revert back into a boy, right? I feel like, when we really look at history, boys became men 13, 14 years old. You're going to war.
Right.
It's like now it's like, boys are 33, 34, 35 years old playing video games and on Tinder and smoking vapes and you're like no direction, no faith and no backbone and inability to fight. You punch a boy in the face. And by boy, I'm talking about you could punch a 35-year-old in the face right now in America, and I bet 93% of them they would ball up and cry, call their mom, get the pizza rolls ready. I'm coming home. I got punched in the face. Please set up the Xbox and my vape. You know what I mean? Like they have no
1000%.
backbone, bro. Let's jump back. And so your year, you did $8 million in sales. What does that look like for gross income for you this year?
Gross income over $500,000.
So over $500,000 in gross income. 2025 slated. I feel like this could be the year you hit your first mill. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
100%. That's the goal. That's the objective.
you do 16 million. You can do 16 million very easily if we work the numbers backward. We need to get to a 30 solid agents as quickly as possible.
Right.
And then figuring out proper leadership and incentives. But ultimately, if you have the right relationships and you have the right resources, you doing $16 million of total sales and making $1 million is already done. Now you just got to go collect the check. That's going to be insane. When you first started health insurance, what'd you make your first year?
First year, I made 280, I think.
280,000.
280 my first full year.
You've had over
280,000.
50% growth since your first full year
Yeah,
in
100%.
income. That's insane.
Yeah.
What's the top earner make in the private health insurance space?
Well, top income earner, they haven't released it for last year, but I know the year before it was close to 30 million.
How big's their team?
Huge. Now they're at 900 or 1,000.
Yeah.
You know, when last year I think it was 500. I think it was, and then they basically doubled.
And they're just a manager. They don't own the company.
They don't own the company now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. I feel like you could probably do similar results with even less people, depending on how old they are.
Yeah,
I think there's
my
a power in youth.
The good thing about my team is very effective.
I was going to say there's got to be a power.
Yeah.
There can't be a lot of young cats in the private health insurance space.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's a lot.
No. So with my team, they're all fairly young. Like you have people between the ages of 18 and 25.
Yeah.
And they're motivated. I mean, sometimes I can't kick them out the office. Like they'll stay there till like 10, 11 p.m. at night, just calling people, and they'll sell, which is the crazy part.
Yeah.
But the average agent on my team is on track to be $1 million producer in their first quarter. They'll do $250K, which is equivalent to anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 of income in 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 10, 12, 13K every month starting out. So they're already on track to be $1 million producers, but it's because the effort is there 100%. The leads are there. Leads are great. They're all warm and vetted. You got the work ethic, the leadership, everything's there in order for them to win. You just have to put in the effort. Some people look at life insurance or health insurance or just sales in general as like you just show up and do what everyone else does and you get the results. The truth is, if you do what everyone else does, you'll get the same results that everyone else gets.
Yeah.
So you have to come in, you have to look at the hardest working person in the room who makes the most money. What do? Do they come in at 7? Okay, I'm going to come in at 6:30. They leave at 9, I'm going to leave at 9:30. Right? And you outwork them in every little aspect. Sooner than later, you're going to start making just as much, if not more than them.
Completely agree with what you're saying. Every time I'm talking to people that are successful, I think there's always a clear distinction. If you want something nobody else has, you have to do something nobody else is doing. Or if you want something the minority have, you have to do what the minority are doing. Mm-hmm. What's the perfect candidate look like in your business? Somebody that you would want to work with. Like who would the perfect person look like?
I say the biggest thing is coachability. If you're coachable and you're driven, I don't think anything can really stop you from being successful because you already have the drive to want to be successful in this industry and you're coachable. A lot of people come in with this sort of almost like arrogance. It's like they're coachable for the first 2 or 3 weeks and it's like they get stuck. It's not like that they think they know more, but a lot of times you have to feed the same thought and advice multiple times and it's just not getting in their head and, then they become argumentative. So I think always being coachable is rare. Driven, I mean, I feel like most young individuals in this day and age are driven to an extent, but you have to be coachable. And you have to be smart enough to know that if someone is doing better than you, just shut up and listen. You know, like what's the worst that can happen? You stay where you are.
Yeah.
Best thing that can happen, you get better. You know, you're clearly not where you want to be in life. That's why you're in this opportunity and you're learning from scratch. So you might as well open your mind, put your arrogance aside, and learn as much as possible.
What do you think makes somebody coachable, more coachable than others, when you really break down coachability?
So actually, one thing, I prefer not to hire people who have tons of sales experience, because from my experience, what I've seen, people who have tons of sales experience and they're still looking for a new sales opportunity, it's because this opportunity failed, that opportunity didn't work out, this, you know, and now they're back in square one again and they're looking for a new sales job. And usually those people almost have like a notion of how sales works as if they already know things. I think people that are most coachable are people who came from completely different industries, but they know the impact that sales can have in their life, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. But I think if you've tried and it didn't work out for you, it's almost like you develop this just shield between you accepting new information.
I completely agree with you. And it's one thing I really study, because I always tell people, it's like, you don't need to try to do God's work. God makes great men. Man's job, leader's job, king's job are to find those great men, not create them. God already made coachable men, super coachable men and women that are out there hungry, obsessed. They're just waiting to be awakened. You know what I mean? For just waiting for a great leader to come in their lives and you know, like Winston Churchill says, like, opportunity comes once in a lifetime. It touches you on the shoulder, taps your shoulder, whispers in your ear, "Are you ready?" And if you miss that opportunity, it's like that Eminem song, "Lose Yourself." You only got one shot. And my goal is to try my best every day to go find a new killer that I can recruit into my life as a business partner. I don't look for sales agents, sales reps, or I look for people that can partner and go to war with me for the next decade, 2 decades, however long God will bless me with a brother or a sister in war where we can go. And for me, war is business. How can we go add commas to impact? You know what I mean? And I think money just reflects, you know, how much impact you're bringing to the marketplace. And I've studied the coachability. And I'm like, what would make a man or a woman very, very coachable? And I look at it as like, okay, if I'm coachable, if I'm willing to listen, it's a reflection of how bad I want something. Usually people, when they're not willing to listen, or like you said, they'll listen for a week or two, then they don't get what they want.
Yeah.
And then the listening just slowly starts going like this. They show up to the office, the dials go down. The listening goes down. The body language, the energy goes down. They were dressing nice.
The doubts go up.
The doubts go up, and their real character is revealed. It's just like fighting. First round, everybody is Conor McGregor. And then you get punched in the face, and you're exhausted. And it's the second round. You're more tired, and you're more tired. And you get punched again. You get kicked in the leg. You get a gut shot, and you're like, oh, God, this is going to keep going. And in the third round, you're like, the losers, the weak men, the boys are quickly revealed in time and under pressure, getting punched in the face, getting hit with them gut shots, and it quickly reveals on who's a boy and who's a man, because the boy gives up. Takes 2 or 3 rounds. In business, same deal. It's 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months. And the further you can delay that out, that's where you can start to see who's a dog and who's not a dog. You know, it's like, I expect to get obliterated at least once every like 2 or 3 years in business. I'm like, well, there's going to be a great reset. And what's cool about it is like, you can never lose your wisdom or knowledge. There might be a reset if you lose people. I've lost more people than you probably will recruit this year. I've lost more people in a day. I've had people like, I've lost 50 people in a day. It's like, hey, we are all leaving. I'm like, well, this sucks. And same deal with money, but it's like, then I look to people that are ahead of me, and they lost more people than I've gonna recruit this year. I'm gonna build around. And they've lost more money than I've made gross. And like when I was like, oh, well, how much you made? I made about 7 million gross in the insurance space since I started. I'm like, oh, okay. I lost that today. When you come down to Miami and you start meeting big players, you're like, wow, I should just shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want that problem. Imagine being in a position where you could lose $7 million in a day and still keep pushing. It's building up that fighter endurance. It's building up that like in jiu-jitsu, they have belts. You go from white belt to blue belt to purple belt, brown belt, and black belt. It's like, you're a white belt. We're a white belt. I'm a white belt. I consider myself a white belt in business. It's like, I think the blue belt comes at, 10 million and the purple belt comes at, 100 million, and the brown belt might come at $1 billion, and then you get to hundreds of billions of dollars. Now you're at black belt level. If the Rockefellers are calling you and telling you it's, don't go to the Diddy party and, those are your problems and you lost $1 billion a day, like, those are problems that we can't even imagine. You can't even fathom. If you, and people don't realize, like, you pray, like we pray for the black belt results right now, and like the Conor McGregor, the UFC champion type of results. It's the easiest reference for me. But you don't realize the process of what that comes with. Like, if we put you in the ring with a black belt right now, or UFC champion, we put you in the ring with Islam Makhachev or Khamzat Chimaev. You know what I mean? Like, they've been going to war for 20 years. So it's like when guys get into business and they pray to have your results, like, Saif, why didn't I get to make $500,000 this year? And or a weekend or a month in. What are your thoughts?
I mean, what I tell agents when they first come in, I tell them you can all make everything I'm making or more, but you have to dedicate yourself. So you have to come in the same time I come.
They better come earlier.
Yeah, right.
If they want to catch up to you fast,
right? Come in earlier, stay later, and just watch me. Because you already know this. I work 70 to 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right? So that agent can also work as many hours as they want. So they can come in and work those same exact hours. They can shadow me for 80 hours a week. If you work side by side with somebody that makes 500 grand or more a year, someone that makes $1 million a year, you shadow them for 80 plus hours every single week, you're bound to start getting the same exact results. You just have to be coachable, ask the right questions, pay attention, and don't stop. Because I got here after doing the same thing over and over for 2 years now, right? It wasn't overnight. But if you come in and you start learning from me, well, you're not gonna have to worry about all the mistakes I've done.
Yeah.
Because now I'm doing it all the correct way.
Yeah.
So you might get there in 6 months or a year, right? It's not gonna take you 2 years.
Yeah, bro. Fire. What's the plan for 2025? I know the plan, but what's the plan for the audience?
Plan for the audience?
Yeah, for the people that don't know your plan, like what is your plan for 2025? And what can people take from your planning that you're going to do differently this year to implement into their lives?
Yeah, so my plan for 2025 really is I want to get to 50 agents by the end of the year. I want to get to 50 agents, and I want to start promoting agents from underneath me into leaders. I want to put them into leadership positions and take my business to the next level as well as theirs. So if I can get to 50 agents, all of this I plan on doing through social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, those being the two main platforms that I'm going to use. But really just give people the opportunity, because I feel like, at least where I came from, because what I was doing before, I was in school for pharmacy school, and then I was working at a pharmacy. I worked at a hospital for a short period of time. I had no idea the money that was out there. Like, yeah, I saw a lot of people on Instagram or social media making tons of money, and they were young, but I didn't know, like, for me, it was like, oh, he must have gotten lucky, or, he did this business where only 1% of people succeed. I didn't understand that, no, the reason why only 1% succeed is only 1% put in the work. But anybody can put in the work and see the same exact results. So I think my goal for 2025, 50 agents, 3 or 4 leaders promoted, and start developing their teams and showing them, really not just the opportunity where you can make 100 to 300 grand in a year as an agent, but unlimited income when you start developing people and showing other people the opportunity and growing a team for yourself.
Yes.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, 1,000%. Well, 1,000%. I mean, ultimately, like leadership, development, and delegation is how you scale a business. If you're not delegating and you're not developing leaders, you're not going to multiply. You'll just grow by addition. So, and that's just standard John Maxwell. And, you know, from reading all of his content, books, and literal social media content, that's pretty much what I study over and over again. Super, super simple. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're only going to multiply through your self-development of yourself as a leader and pouring into others and developing others, you know? So I'm super, super excited for 2025 for you and seeing you scaling, bringing your top producers down throughout the year, you know? So we'll be able to do that a couple times and getting the top producers on and showing the testimony, showing the proof, probably have them bring 1099s and proof of income because that's been the absolute best for us. And I'm just giving out free sauce right now. It's like, and I told my guys this morning, I was like, you're going to attract people naturally with saying less and showing more. And if you're not happy with the proof that you have, it means you're not working smart enough or hard enough. Usually people aren't working hard enough because for you to even consider how smart you're working, you need to work 70 hours. And a lot of people will show, I don't know, do you struggle with this where some people will show up to the office, say they're working, and they're just showing up to the office? Have you ever had people just say, I'm working?
Yeah, but they're just showing up.
You just show up to the office, bro.
You just exist.
Yeah.
You just inhale the oxygen in the air.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing anything.
You're not doing anything. Like,
Yeah.
you can show up all you want to the gym
Right.
and sit here and nothing's happening. You can show up with anything. You want to be the best baker in the world. You show up to the kitchen and you don't get your hands dirty, you're not going to become the best baker in the world. You're not, like, I don't care what it is. There has to be physical action towards the desired outcome that you have. And through that repetition, that's how you develop a better skill set, a better mindset, and figure out what it is you're doing wrong. You know what I mean? It'd be like
Right.
me showing up to the basketball court and saying, I want to be the best basketball player ever, but I sit on the bench forever. I don't dribble. I don't take shots. I don't study film. Do something. How did you come to the office and become the best TikTok scroller in the world? You know, there's a
Right.
large percentage of salespeople that are out there that need to hear this, that you think you're working. And you think pest control sucks, you think solar sucks, life insurance sucks, health insurance sucks. All these guys, like you were saying, you don't like experienced guys, and they've bounced from team to industry to industry, and they're like, yeah, it just sucked.
Yeah.
Maybe you suck.
Right.
There's multimillionaires in pest control, solar, health insurance, life insurance, you name it. Everything in this room was sold
Right.
by somebody. Whether it be B2B sales, some type of service sales, whether something's rented, whatever it might be, everything that is in this room, somebody thought of and they sold, and somebody made millions of dollars, and another person quit and said this is a scam. Maybe the scam is 90% of people are weak and soft, and they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to be patient. They're not willing to go through the trials and tribulations of what it costs. The price is the price. Would you agree?
1,000%.
It's crazy.
1,000%. Yeah, and it's funny because it's rare to come across those people, but when you find them, it's like you found a gem. It's those people that come in and you can't even get them to take a break and go eat. They're just almost like addicted to playing this video game.
Yeah.
You know, where they're just
Yeah.
calling people, prospecting, booking their appointments,
Yes.
and closing. Right. So those are the people that I look for. And ironically, the last person I recruited from Instagram, he DM'd me and we hopped on a call and gave him my pitch. He was like, I'm bought in, and he comes in, starts. First week, he stays till 11 every single day, comes in at 7 in the morning. And I don't even work those hours, but because it was his first week, I can't leave him by himself.
Yeah.
So I had to stay at the office. No other agent is going to do that. So, you know, I thugged it out for him and I didn't even complain. I told him, I was like, yeah, dude, you can leave whenever you want. I'm here. And then the system automatically shuts you down after a certain time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't call people after, I think it's 11 p.m. Central, which is like 9 p.m. Pacific time, because we work in, nationwide. Anyway, so he does that every single day. Second week after he's licensed, he pulls $4,200 straight commission in his pocket. And it's just 2 weeks. First week, I think it was like $1,500 or $1,800. Second week is $4,200. And it was funny because that same week when he was working all those hours, I was like, hey, dude, how much money do you want to make like in a week? He's 19 years old. He's like, I want to make 1,000 a week. I was like, man, that's so cute, bro.
Yeah,
that's so cute.
yeah, that's easy, bro.
And then I'm like,
You could roll into the office and we can get you to do that.
right. So when he saw the 4,200 in a week, second week, he was impressed. He was like, his reaction is just like, it's like, it just reminds you, like reaffirms in you, like, this is why I'm doing this shit.
Yeah.
The reason I'm doing this is because the success people are seeing when they listen and put in the effort. And
That's sick.
yeah.
Super sick, bro. Super sick. As we wrap up, I always like to tie in culture and life and everything like that. Now, because also we can incorporate your story with this new studio. And we haven't done a podcast in the new studio. So you were born and raised in Palestine.
No, I was born and raised in Chicago.
You weren't born in Palestine?
No.
Parents were?
Yeah, my dad.
Your dad?
My dad, yeah. My mom was born in California.
Okay. So do you go back and visit? Or you haven't?
I've never gone and visited. I think it was just one time when I was really young, but I don't recall.
One thing there's a few
I've been to
people-
neighboring countries like
Yeah.
Jordan, Egypt, been to Dubai.
Yeah. There's a few people that I really admire.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pretty solid Muslim friend group, and I admire every single one of them, all from different Muslim countries. You know what I mean? Whether it be their parents were there, like your parents were, or they were born there. There's actually a top producer I'm getting on in the first quarter of this year. He's in the brokerage side of life insurance, but he's actually from Palestine and came over a couple of years ago. Just learned English and everything like that. He's rushing it in the life insurance space. And I was running a call, and it was a couple hundred people were on the call, and they were spamming the chat. They were going like, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. And he had spoke up, and he was like, guys, relax, chill, let the guy speak.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I was like, I called the dude after. I was like, bro, you didn't have to do that. And he was like, no, brother, that's not how we act. That's not how we're supposed to act. He was like,
Right.
Those are like the low level people. And I was like, those people exist everywhere. Like America has low level people. Every religious group has low level people. Like, I love to see when people come together and bring their intelligence together and realize there are bad people in every religion, in every group of people, in every country. And then you have good people that generally want to see a community thrive and do well. And something about you've always been peaceful. You always hear like the cliche saying, peace in the Middle East. You live it. You know what I mean? You have people that you work with, that you respect, even when you don't want to, that are different beliefs, whether Christians, Jews, and all these different things. And I've never, ever seen you say or do anything that's negative. You know what I mean? To other people. Like you really are, regardless of how strong your faith is, you are a good embodiment and representation of what I feel like everybody's, faith should be, is including people and being good to God's kids. As long as there's moral alignment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody should ever tolerate negativity towards another group of people or anything like that. But I love that about you. Why are you like that versus, other people can be extremists? What makes you you? What makes you so open?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like Muslims or Palestinians in general, just the Arab world, we get a lot of reputation or just a bad rep in the media.
Yeah.
And the only way to actually change that is your interaction. I've heard a lot of times where, like a white American would say something along the lines of, like, I used to think Muslims were this, or that until I met them.
Yeah.
So it's just you meeting those people is what can change your perception of them. So if I'm going to represent Muslims, Palestinians, Arabs in general, I need to put on the best. I need to show them what we really are.
Yeah. It's the same deal with like black people. You know what I mean? I'm half black, and it's like, so many white people be like, man, I thought you were going to steal everything. It's like, nah, not me, bro. But it's the same deal. It's like the representation of your group of people. It's a religion. It's a race. Like, you represent your people. And so it's like, For me being a Christian, if I were to outlash on a group of people or something like that, and I'm in a public setting, a private setting, it doesn't matter. I'm showing and representing my team. And so when you
You're a
represent
walking
your team,
representation.
yes, bro. So I really like that about you. I like that about this other young man that pretty much my whole Muslim friend group has always been respectful. I have a Jewish girlfriend, and they have, I wouldn't say like they don't have a right, but like they can interrogate me and be like, "What is this, brother? Wallahi," you know what I mean? Like, all been respectful to her, to me, and like,
Yeah.
And when we talk, whether we sit down, we talk, or on FaceTime, we talk, and it's always solution oriented. You know what I mean? She's got Palestinian friends, and because it's a neighboring country, so it's like no, she's like there are bad, Jewish people that are extremists and are trying to, hurt, and then vice versa. There's extremists on the other side, and it's like it gives a bad representation of the whole group. And then you have dumb people that just think the extremists represent all Jews or the extremists represent all Muslims.
Yeah.
That's like saying the KKK represents all of America.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like we're not all like that. We're not all like the Black Panthers. You know what I mean? Like I know black people too that like hate just white people. Like, no, we're not doing anything with the white people here. I'm like, oh, I'm half white. So should half of me leave? So dude, you've got an incredible story. You've got an incredible heart. You move with class. You move with wisdom and knowledge and patience. There's no doubt in my mind that not only are you going to be a millionaire here very soon, but you're going to do far more than that. You're going to really impact lives, and you're going to realize when you're 90 years old on your deathbed, 100 years old on your deathbed, it won't be all the money that you accumulated. It'll be the lives that you impacted. And it'll be you continuing to be a good representation, not of just your faith, but of Saif. Of what do you want your tombstone to symbolize? What do you want this small little slither of life that you and I receive? What do you want that to be?
Yeah, so I'm really big on purpose. I'm very purpose driven, and I feel like that connects a lot to the legacy I leave behind. Because obviously I won't leave behind money. I mean, sure, I might leave behind money for my family or whatnot, but I'm not taking the money with me. The only thing I'm taking with me is the legacy, my deeds. What did I do in this world that's gonna live beyond me?
Yes.
Right? So am I gonna be remembered or looked up to as somebody who was, generous, kind, hardworking, wise, or am I going to go down as a scumbag?
Yeah.
So I want to leave the best possible legacy since, when I'm young, all the way till when I'm old, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm big on family too. Like I want to have a lot of kids.
Yes.
Because they're going to be a direct reflection of me.
Yes.
And when I have them, I need to make sure they're the best possible version of themselves.
Yes.
Because at least in the Arab community, like when a kid messes up,
it reflects the family.
And they'll say like, "Oh, you're the son of that guy."
Yes.
You're the son of Saif. Did you see what the son of Saif did?
Yes.
Yes. And my reputation is more impacted than his.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So name, last name, legacy is huge.
I've been able to close just about everybody in the world I've ever talked to when it comes to insurance. There's one group of people you can't close on life insurance. It's the Muslim community.
Yeah.
I remember trying to pitch this Muslim. He's like, "We don't believe in it, though." I was like, "We don't believe in what?" "We don't believe in it. We don't need it." And I was like, "What do you mean? What are we talking about?" I was like, "We don't need anything after death." I was like,
yeah.
Oh, and I couldn't think of a good rebuttal. I was like, "Oh, just leave it for your family. They don't need it. We don't need it." And I was like, "Oh my God, bro, what am I going to say?" But man, I respect it. I love it. This has been incredible. So guys, if you are in the health insurance world, you're in the sales world, you're not in the sales world, and you want to get into the sales world, there's no better place to work than with Saif. Incredible leadership from the front, leading from the front, developing leaders, more opportunity than you can dream of. And more importantly, there's a lot of cash in it. So if you want cash, which is going to translate to freedom for you, you need to contact Saif. Where can they find you?
You got my social media. I just changed my Instagram username. I think it's Saif Hayek. If you search Saif Hayek on Instagram, you'll find me. Or
we'll have it in
my
there
phone
too.
number. Yeah, my phone number is 336-615-7261. Just shoot me a text message and we'll hop on a call.
Let's go. Anything else on your heart you want to share?
No. That's about it, man. It's been great, man.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Let's go. Stay tuned,
Always
guys.
a pleasure, bro.
Always a pleasure, man. I love
Yes,
this studio
sir.
too. So shout out the Move Studio, the greatest studio in the world. Done at least 30, 40 podcasts with them, and I'm planning on doing a couple hundred this year with them. 50. I've done 50. So that's our estimation right now. The Move Studio is incredible. Shaq shoots here. A bunch of Heat players shoot here. Just incredible people shoot here. Shout out to them. I'm using other people's names to build my clout. Thank God. That's who I am now. Let's go. Peace.